A new report says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle don't really like anything about each other.
I think personally, I think they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
The real reason Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage is an empty sham. Constant drama and criticism are the only things holding them together.
Meghan Markle really did expect Harry to be a billionaire when she met him. She was incredibly disappointed to find out he's only worth a couple million, and she's gonna have to actually work and hawk these jams and jellies and dog biscuits to have the lifestyle that she wants.
A man who she abandoned for months to the media and now presents her mother, Doria, speaking for the first time, telling outright lies about her ex-husband. I mean, this was a calculated attempt against the family.
The Sussexes' bond is now only sustained by the controversies that regularly engulf their public lives.
A single reported claim from royal biographer Tom Bower has suddenly put Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage back under an intense spotlight. And it's the kind of allegation that has people asking whether there's been a much bigger story hiding in plain sight all along. If the sources cited in his reporting are correct, the issue may have far less to do with headlines or public appearances and much more to do with the couple's financial partnership behind closed doors. Bower believes one little-known legal detail could potentially explain several decisions that have puzzled royal watchers over the past few years, making this one of the most talked-about claims surrounding the Sussexes. Even though none of these claims have been independently verified, they have spread quickly through royal circles because they raise an intriguing question. Could a legal arrangement be influencing business decisions that many people never fully understood?
Tom Bower, the legendary royal author, is sharpening his quill for a new edition of his book set to reveal huge secrets inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage.
Well, you know, Piers, you're the first person to say how limited Prince Harry is, unfortunately, and how his wife trades off her husband's fame and fortune, or not so great fortune now. I mean, this is the problem, but we're still interested because, after all, he's a great character in our modern day.
And so he became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationships, never thinking that they could have something to do with himself. So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and has got really nobody on whom he could rely, which is in the end where Meghan stepped in. I mean, a needy man met a woman who could help him with his needs.
That possibility alone has kept commentators debating the story, especially because Bower has spent years investigating high-profile public figures and is known for digging through records, interviews, and documents before presenting his findings. Whether people ultimately accept his conclusions or reject them, the discussion surrounding these reported claims has only continued to grow. Whether people agree with his conclusions or not, Bower has become known for assembling detailed investigations supported by interviews, public records, and legal documentation. That reputation is one reason his latest claims about Harry and Meghan have generated so much discussion. For his biography, Revenge, Bower reportedly spoke with dozens of people connected to Meghan's life before and after joining the royal family. Those reported conversations became a major part of the research behind the book. Reports surrounding the book have claimed those interviews.
The latest potential PR stunt comes as rumours circulate of Meghan forcing a, quote, brand separation as she attempts to distance herself from her husband's victim narrative and forge a separate role.
Aggressive PR for the Sussexes got way beyond herself because she really doesn't understand the British royal family or Britain, but understands how to project her clients. And so I think she got it wrong by leaking it, or even letting anyone know about it.
I do think that when you're mocked so publicly as they've been, their value begins to nosedive pretty quickly. And I don't think they're finding any more sources of income.
Radar reports that one longtime friend, which in the case of Meghan feels like an oxymoron, described their relationship as powered by the storms around them and not much else. They said, there have been periods when the turmoil never seemed to stop, and strangely, it kept them united.
Included former palace employees, entertainment industry contacts, legal professionals, and others who reportedly had direct knowledge of different stages of Meghan's career. His supporters argue this approach gives his reporting added credibility, while critics believe several of his conclusions remain open to challenge and interpretation. Now, Bauer is drawing attention to what he alleges is an important provision connected to Harry and Meghan's financial arrangements. According to his reported sources, there was language covering ownership of business ventures, intellectual property, and future earnings that could become extremely significant if the couple's financial relationship were ever to change. None of these claims have been independently confirmed, but they have fueled widespread speculation.
Become an absolute nightmare for them. Despite marrying in St. George's Chapel in Windsor, it seems like life hasn't been so rosy for the couple. They have gone through endless challenges, the vast majority of which are all self-inflicted. And this weekend, we had some new news that seems to kind of reiterate the idea that Meghan Markle, she wants to go back to the past. She wants to relive her glory days because she has hired Sunshine Sachs as her new PR representatives, who were representing her back in 2016. And at the same time, Harry is in the UK fighting for a court case that really has no bearing on any of this, but we have heard endlessly that he wants to.
Among royal watchers, some commentators believe these reports could also explain why Meghan was linked again with Sunshine Sachs in early 2026. Others disagree entirely and argue there could be many routine business reasons for working with a public relations firm, leaving the debate far from settled. Questions surrounding the timing of these reported events have continued to spark debate, even though no public evidence has established a direct connection between them. That uncertainty is exactly what has kept royal commentators talking. To understand why Bauer's claims have attracted so much interest, it helps to first look at how prenuptial agreements are commonly structured. In many situations, they outline what each person owned before the marriage, explain how assets gained together may be handled, and establish financial protections if the relationship eventually comes to an end. Those provisions are often routine, but they can become much more detailed depending on the circumstances. When couples have substantial wealth, valuable businesses, or highly public careers, these agreements often go well beyond basic finances. They may include detailed provisions involving companies.
Now she's just stuck with this depressed ginger who has absolutely no family, no friends, and no money. This was not hashtag part of the plan. So what is she supposed to do now? Now, if she's smart, and she is that, she's very savvy, she will find a way to bounce past him to some other taker who might actually just love the guy. She will take her royal kids, who can still go by prince and princess, and find the...
It's all about the independence to do what she wants. And a billionaire husband will afford her things that she can't have with someone like Harry. So it just makes sense that she would want to be with a billionaire, because Harry just can't give her anything else anymore. He served his purpose. His purpose is over, and they're no longer aligned in purpose. So it's for her, it's time to move on.
Trademarks, copyrights, publishing rights, licensing arrangements, entertainment contracts, and other intellectual property that could continue generating income for years. As professional opportunities grow, the financial picture can become far more complex than many people realize. Royal marriages can introduce another level of legal complexity because personal assets, inherited wealth, titles, and institutional interests may overlap with commercial activities. Harry and Meghan's situation reportedly became even more distinctive after they stepped away from royal duties and began building multiple business ventures in the United States, opening the door to an entirely different commercial landscape. Media partnerships, publishing projects, production deals, and brand development quickly became central parts of their professional lives, creating financial arrangements that were far more complicated than those faced by most married couples. According to Bauer's reported sources, one section of the agreement allegedly focused on ownership of intellectual property rather than simply dividing income or shared assets, a distinction that has attracted significant attention. The reported discussion included projects connected to the Sussex brand, commercial partnerships, publishing rights, entertainment ventures, and other business interests developed during the marriage. Some commentators believe a provision like this could become particularly important if disagreements were ever to arise over future ownership, licensing, or commercial opportunities connected to those ventures. Perhaps the most talked about aspect of Bauer's account is his claim that the reported wording may not have appeared in the original agreement signed before the wedding. Instead, he alleges that changes were introduced later through an amendment reflecting the couple's expanding business interests. That claim has not been publicly verified, but it has become one of the most widely discussed elements of his latest commentary, especially because amendments to financial agreements are not uncommon after major life events, growing businesses, or significant family changes. If Tom Bauer's account is accurate, the story becomes even more layered after Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal duties. According to his reporting, the financial agreement connected to their marriage was reportedly not left exactly as it had been after the wedding. Instead, he claims it evolved alongside their dramatically changing lives and expanding commercial ambitions, making the reported revisions another major focus of the continuing debate surrounding their financial partnership. Although none of these reported claims have been independently confirmed, they have continued to generate intense discussion among royal commentators, largely because of the timing surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's move to California and the rapid expansion of their business ventures. For many observers, the story is not simply about relocating to another country. Instead, it centers on how dramatically the couple's financial world changed once they stepped away from royal duties and began building a new commercial future. Harry and Meghan were no longer relying on the structure of royal life. They entered the entertainment industry, launched new companies, negotiated major commercial agreements, and worked to establish multiple long-term business projects. Legal experts frequently note that when a couple experiences such significant financial growth or changes in professional direction, updating existing financial agreements can be a perfectly routine and practical step rather than an unusual one. According to Bauer's reported sources, however, this particular amendment may have carried considerably greater importance than a standard legal revision. He suggests it reflected a much broader shift in the couple's business structure as their commercial ambitions continued to expand beyond their original plans. Bauer also claims he spoke with legal professionals who were familiar with Meghan's earlier divorce from Trevor Engelson. According to his reporting, those individuals described Meghan as someone who paid close attention to legal details, carefully reviewed important documents, and preferred to understand every significant provision before agreeing to anything. They reportedly characterized her approach as organized, deliberate, and highly focused on protecting long-term interests. Those descriptions remain part of Bauer's reporting and have not been publicly confirmed by the individuals involved. Based on those reported conversations, Bauer argues that Meghan's previous legal experience may have influenced how she approached later business negotiations and commercial arrangements after leaving royal life. Whether that interpretation is accurate remains open to debate, but it continues to be one of the key points in his broader argument. His overall theory is that protecting future earning potential became an increasingly important priority as Harry and Meghan developed publishing projects, media partnerships, production deals, and other commercial ventures outside the royal family. Supporters of Bauer's reporting believe that explanation fits the couple's changing circumstances, while critics argue there is not enough publicly verified information to reach that conclusion. The debate remains active because much of the reported detail has never been independently confirmed. The timeline itself has also attracted significant attention. In 2020, The couple announced major partnerships with companies in the entertainment industry while launching Archewell, which became central to many of their charitable and commercial activities. Around the same period, reports indicated they were establishing trademarks, production companies, and additional business structures that could influence their professional careers for many years ahead. According to Bauer's reported sources, the alleged amendment addressed far more than simply dividing income. He claims it also covered management responsibilities, ownership rights connected to business ventures, decision-making authority, and control over intellectual property created during the marriage. Some commentators believe that, if such provisions exist, they could become highly significant in any future disagreement involving business interests or commercial projects. Others caution that no publicly available documents have verified those reported details. Another point Bauer highlights involves Sunshine Sachs, the public relations firm that represented Meghan during different periods of her public career. Some commentators have speculated that the firm's reported return in early 2026 could indicate preparation for a broader communication strategy, while others maintain there are many ordinary professional reasons such a partnership could resume, keeping the discussion active without establishing any confirmed connection. Not everyone accepts the speculation surrounding these reported developments, and many observers argue there are plenty of ordinary reasons why well-known public figures continue working with experienced public relations firms throughout their careers. From product launches to reputation management and media planning, retaining seasoned PR advisors is common practice, making it difficult to draw firm conclusions about any larger narrative based solely on that relationship. At this stage, there is still no publicly confirmed evidence connecting the firm's reported involvement to any specific future event or business decision. Even so, Bauer includes Meghan's recent business activity as part of what he describes as a broader pattern that, in his view, deserves closer examination. Whether that interpretation is persuasive remains a matter of opinion rather than established fact. Since 2022, Meghan has continued developing projects under her own name, including trademark filings, lifestyle ventures, and additional branding efforts that appear separate from Harry's public work. Many entrepreneurs choose to organize their businesses this way for practical branding, legal, or operational reasons. However, Bauer argues that the timing of these developments is worth paying closer attention to, especially when viewed alongside the couple's expanding commercial portfolio. That interpretation remains Bauer's personal assessment rather than a verified conclusion. He also raises questions about how the couple's reported entertainment agreements may have been structured behind the scenes. Although headlines frequently highlighted figures reaching as much as $100 million for the Netflix partnership, entertainment industry contracts rarely function as one large guaranteed payment delivered at the beginning of a deal. Instead, many agreements are structured around performance milestones, with payments tied to completed productions, renewals, audience targets, delivery schedules, or other contractual obligations. According to individuals Bauer reportedly spoke with, recognizing that distinction is important because the actual financial value of these agreements may unfold over several years, rather than arriving as a single lump sum payment often suggested by early media reports. That difference can dramatically change how the public interprets the true scale of such partnerships. As Harry and Meghan's media ventures continued to develop, not every announced project unfolded the way early headlines had predicted. Their documentary series was released, and Meghan later introduced her own lifestyle programming. However, several other projects announced during that period never ultimately reached audiences, including the animated series Pearl, which was cancelled before production moved forward. Those developments prompted many commentators to question how much of the couple's original entertainment strategy would eventually come to fruition, and how those changing circumstances might influence future business decisions. Tom Bauer argues that this period represented an important turning point in the couple's commercial journey. According to people he reportedly interviewed, The widely discussed figures attached to Harry and Meghan's entertainment agreements reflected potential maximum values rather than guaranteed payments. Some industry observers have similarly noted that contracts of this nature are frequently tied to performance milestones, completed productions, renewals, and future deliverables instead of being paid entirely upfront, making their ultimate value dependent on how those projects evolve over time. According to Tom Bower's reporting, information provided by his reported sources suggests the total amount ultimately received from some of Harry and Meghan's major entertainment agreements may have been significantly lower than the headline figures that circulated widely in the media. If accurate, Bower argues this highlights the difference between attention-grabbing announcements and how complex commercial contracts often function behind the scenes, where final payments can depend on many different conditions. None of those reported figures have been publicly confirmed, and the precise financial terms of the agreements remain confidential. Even so, the contrast between public expectations and the way entertainment contracts are commonly structured has become an ongoing topic of discussion surrounding the couple's business ventures. Industry observers have frequently noted that headline values often represent the maximum possible worth of a deal rather than the exact amount ultimately earned, adding another layer to the public conversation. What drew Bower's attention even more, however, was the timing of Meghan's independent business activity. Beginning around 2022, she reportedly started filing trademark applications connected to American Riviera Orchard while continuing to develop additional projects under her own name. Around the same period, public records also reportedly reflected the creation of additional business entities linked to her individual commercial work, prompting further discussion among commentators following the couple's business strategy. None of those developments prove any future plans or intentions. Nevertheless, Bower believes the sequence of events deserves closer examination. He also argues that reports concerning the couple's financial arrangements should not automatically be interpreted as signs of financial difficulty. According to his reported conversations with advisors who work with wealthy clients, restructuring assets, establishing separate business entities, organizing intellectual property, and managing ownership through different legal structures can all represent ordinary, long-term financial planning rather than evidence of a larger problem. Bower believes these reported moves follow a recognizable legal and commercial strategy, while others maintain they may simply reflect routine financial management for well-known public figures overseeing multiple businesses across different industries. Both interpretations continue to be debated because the underlying financial documents have not been made public, leaving much of the discussion based on reported accounts rather than verified records. Bower further points out that several of Meghan's more recent ventures have been associated primarily with her own personal brand instead of joint projects with Harry. He highlights her trademark filings, publishing work, media partnerships, and lifestyle initiatives as examples. Many entrepreneurs naturally separate individual brands from shared family businesses for practical commercial reasons, but Bower views those developments as part of a much broader pattern. That interpretation, however, remains his analysis and has not been established as confirmed fact. Perhaps the most heavily debated element of Tom Bower's reporting centers on what he believes could happen if Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were ever to separate in the future. According to his reported sources, legal provisions involving business interests, intellectual property, and commercial rights could become especially significant under those circumstances. However, no such agreement has been released publicly, meaning these reported claims remain speculative and cannot be independently verified. That important distinction continues to shape every discussion surrounding the story. Some royal commentators have taken the conversation even further by speculating about possible outcomes involving property ownership, control of business ventures, future commercial opportunities, and intellectual property developed during the marriage. Others strongly caution against drawing conclusions, emphasizing that predicting the outcome of any hypothetical legal dispute is impossible without access to the actual documents or a full understanding of the specific legal circumstances involved. As a result, much of the conversation remains centered on possibilities rather than confirmed facts. Family law matters are highly individualized, and legal outcomes typically depend on a wide range of factors that extend well beyond any single agreement. Courts often consider numerous financial and legal circumstances before reaching decisions, making broad predictions especially difficult when so little verified information is publicly available. Bauer also questions whether Harry fully understands the legal and financial complexities surrounding the couple's reported business arrangements. In his commentary, he suggests the expanding commercial structure may involve issues that are far more complicated than they appear from the outside, particularly as the couple's business interests have continued to grow over recent years. As part of his broader analysis, Bauer points to Harry's emotional public appearances and continuing legal battles as signs that considerable pressure may be building behind the scenes. Supporters of that interpretation believe those moments may reflect deeper personal strain, while critics argue that public appearances alone cannot reliably reveal the true state of a private relationship or marriage. Both viewpoints continue to be widely discussed because neither can be established through publicly available evidence alone. According to Bauer's reporting, some people he says are familiar with the situation have expressed concerns about the financial risks associated with Harry's continuing legal disputes. Whether those reported concerns have any connection to the couple's broader business planning remains unknown. For now, much of the discussion continues to rest on interpretation rather than confirmed evidence, leaving royal observers divided over whether Bauer has identified meaningful warning signs or simply presented another controversial theory that continues attracting widespread attention. As the discussion draws toward its conclusion, Bauer's overall argument remains one of the most debated aspects of his reporting. Based on the sources he says he consulted, he believes the reported legal arrangements surrounding Harry and Meghan's business interests could carry consequences extending far beyond what has been publicly understood. However, none of the alleged documents or reported clauses have been released for independent review, leaving many of the claims impossible to verify. That uncertainty is precisely what has kept the story in the spotlight, with supporters arguing that Bauer's decades of investigative reporting give additional weight to the questions he continues to raise, even as others remain cautious about accepting those conclusions without independent confirmation. Supporters of Tom Bauer's reporting believe the reported timeline, the business decisions, and the alleged legal revisions fit together in a way that deserves careful attention. From their perspective, the sequence of events appears too consistent to dismiss without asking further questions. They argue that while individual developments may seem ordinary on their own, looking at them together creates a broader picture that they believe is worth examining more closely. Others strongly disagree with that assessment. They argue that much of Bauer's theory depends on interpretation rather than publicly available evidence, and that there are many perfectly ordinary explanations for the couple's business decisions. Critics point out that successful public figures often restructure companies, launch new brands, separate intellectual property, and adjust financial arrangements as their careers evolve. In their view, none of those actions automatically point toward a larger hidden story. One of the biggest questions continues to revolve around timing. Were the reported legal updates simply routine revisions made as Harry and Meghan built an entirely new business portfolio after stepping away from royal duties? Or were they part of a much broader long-term financial strategy? At this stage, nobody outside the people directly involved can answer that question with certainty, and no publicly available documents have confirmed the reported details discussed by Bauer. That uncertainty remains at the center of the debate. The same uncertainty applies to the couple's more recent professional decisions. Meghan has continued developing projects under her own name, while Harry has remained focused on separate charitable work, legal matters, public appearances, and other individual commitments. Some commentators view that as a completely normal evolution for two people with different professional interests and career goals. Others believe the growing separation between certain projects deserves closer attention because they see it as another piece of a much larger puzzle. The reality is that only time will determine which interpretation, if either, proves to be correct. Until more verified information becomes available, much of the conversation will continue to rely on analysis, opinion, and competing interpretations rather than confirmed facts. That is one reason discussions surrounding Harry and Meghan continue generating so much attention across news outlets and social media alike. Another reason this topic refuses to disappear is because Harry and Meghan remain among the most closely watched public figures anywhere in the world. Nearly every trademark filing, business announcement, media partnership, interview, public appearance, or legal development quickly becomes the subject of widespread discussion. Supporters and critics often examine the very same information, yet arrive at completely different conclusions, making it increasingly difficult to separate confirmed facts from personal interpretation. The speed of online discussion only adds to that challenge. A single report can spark thousands of reactions within hours, while new commentary, interviews, and articles frequently introduce additional perspectives that keep the conversation moving. As a result, stories involving the Sussexes often evolve rapidly, with every new development prompting fresh debate across television, newspapers, podcasts, YouTube channels, and social media platforms. For now, there is no official confirmation that the reported legal provisions exist in the form Bauer describes. Likewise, there is no independently verified evidence showing that Harry and Meghan are moving toward the scenario some commentators have predicted. Those important facts remain unchanged, even as speculation continues to circulate among royal observers and members of the public. Nevertheless, Bauer's investigation has undeniably reignited discussion about how celebrity finances, business partnerships, intellectual property, and high-profile marriages may be managed behind the scenes. Whether his overall theory eventually proves accurate or not, it has encouraged many people to look more closely at the legal and financial side of modern celebrity life, an area that is rarely visible to the public. As always, stories involving the royal family can change very quickly. A new interview, legal filing, official statement, or business announcement can completely reshape public understanding in a matter of days. That is why many observers continue following every new development while waiting to see whether future information supports or challenges the claims currently being discussed. Now, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Tom Bauer has uncovered details that deserve closer attention? Or do you believe he's connecting separate events into a theory that reaches beyond the available evidence? Share your opinion in the comments below and let everyone know where you stand, because this story has clearly divided royal watchers from every angle. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more royal news, celebrity updates, and behind-the-headlines analysis, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest uploads. Your support really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you the biggest stories and the latest developments as they happen. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.